What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Rezolve AI. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what just came out from the company itself, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Rezolve is up 24.1%, 272 the low, 302 the high, and 24.9 million shares being traded within the first 30 minutes of the trading day versus 13.6 for the full day. So today is going to be a massive volume day. The broader market is getting very hyped up because of the data that just came out. So we did have ADP weekly coming in at 16.2 thousand. Non-farm payroll for October came in at negative 105. For November came in at 64,000 versus 25,000 the forecast. So pretty good stuff for that. Retail sales was a little bit lower than the forecast, so 0% versus 0.2. But then again, that's kind of what the market wants. It wants a slightly negative, nothing horrific. And so again, that kind of is exactly what the market wants. And then unemployment rate came in at 4.6, exactly what the forecast was. So all in all, market is taking this as a very strong positive and increasing the likelihood of a cut for the upcoming January 28th meeting. So that is why the market is getting very hyped up. But in Rezolve's case, it is moving significantly higher because of this. So Rezolve AI shattered year-end expectations. December revenue expected to exceed 17 million. And then previously, they did raise their guidance for 2025 to 150 million ARR. And so ultimately, they are saying that they are going to exceed 200 million. So they blew that out of the water. So in theory, one would logically conclude that their 500 million ARR for 2026 is going to be most likely hit and potentially even exceeded. So I don't know, that might be premature. They didn't really talk about 2026 in this PR, but nonetheless, they completely blew 2025 out of the water. So in general, that's kind of a good thing. We are having a unique circumstance. So there still is a certain level of fear in the broader market. This is why shorts have really started to double down. So at the time of doing this video, 12.82% of the free float is being shorted. Works to be 15.23 million shares overall being shorted. So shorts have actually been a little bit more bold lately. So they've been really increasing more and more. But given the circumstances of the data that just came out, as well as the information that Rezolve just put out, it is fair to assume that potentially we could be seeing a little bit of a pinch. Right now, we're not seeing any pinch currently, so they're not being squeezed out. Rather, they are increasing 84,000 shares. So that could put them in a little bit more of a particular bind, but still, I think generally looking at DTC being at 0.75 days kind of signals that they are overextended. I know 0.75 days isn't all that much, but you also have to factor in that Rezolve lately has been getting a little bit higher volume. So their average is going higher and increasing. DTC does always factor in the average volume in comparison to number of shares being shorted. So things are looking pretty a-okay in my opinion. Aside from that though, I think the next big thing that could really help Rezolve is some analysts giving ratings based on this newfound information. So again, analysts being a little bit more optimistic on Rezolve could really push things higher. Aside from all of that though, looking at the options market just opened roughly, like I said, 30 minutes ago, so take this with a grain of salt, but 636,000 in calls, 45,000 in puts, so still kind of lower-ish volume, but 59% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around 3 for today, and then 4 onwards for next week. So that's good stuff. These are some of the transactions occurring so far on the secondary market above $100,000. So we only see right now 5 transactions, 3 of which are buys, 2 of which are sells. So institutions are starting to pay a little bit more attention to Rezolve, but most of the volume is coming from algorithmic trading because again, shorts aren't even doing that much. These are some of the transactions occurring on the dark pool above $100,000, and shorts and hedge funds like to use the dark pool. Hedge funds are typically the hold number, so 50,000, 40,000, 56,000, that most likely is hedge funds. The rest could be correlated with shorts. So again, something just to kind of keep in mind. Aside from all that, with it at 287, it is trading between this pivot and this S1, so 271 it's going to be a strong support that you really want to watch for Rezolve to hold. And conveniently, that's actually the low for today right now, so 272. So we know at least that's a good support level for right now. So just kind of watch for that throughout the rest of the trading day. 337 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. But aside from that though, on the actual chart, finally it is showing some signs of life. So it was able to successfully get over that 10-day moving average, and it hasn't been above that since November the 28th. So kind of crazy. It's been a very volatile last couple of weeks, but nonetheless it is showing some signs of life. And so I think in general, as long as it can hold that for today, then most likely we could be seeing that 200-day moving average over the next couple trading days. So that is currently sitting at 309. So yeah, I think big things are coming. That was kind of the big issue that I had with Rezolve, is that they talked a big game, but they didn't really prove anything. And so I think in general, I'd still want to see their actual quarterly numbers, which most likely, because of them being a semi-annual reporter, won't be up until February-ish. I know Dan kind of mentioned that they were thinking about kind of changing that, but nonetheless, I think, yeah, today's news was on point and hopefully should really incentivize some institutions and also retail to get back in, because I know this last couple months, it's been brutal, absolutely brutal, ever since it hit the high of 845. So let me know your viewpoint. I know a lot of people, like I've stated in the past, just want to really pump up a stock. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people screaming for short squeeze today with this stock. It could happen, obviously. What do I know in life? But I think in general, maybe there still is a certain level of fear in the broader market, and that might be enough to kind of cause a certain level of suppression. But still, I think shorts are overextended a little bit too much. And yeah, so let me know your general thoughts on Rezolve. Are you buying more? Did you buy more? Or do you like this news that did come out? Or do you want more kind of concrete information? One final thing, pop over to my Stacked account if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.